Welcome to the Venture Xperience podcast, featuring interviews with up-and-coming entrepreneurs and business leaders. Join host Brian Weatherford as we peel behind the curtain into the motivations, tools, and strategies used by successful business leaders.
Hey there, welcome to the Venture Xperience podcast. I'm your host, Brian Weatherford, and today we're going to be talking residential real estate. Residential real estate has always been a big thing, particularly if you're a first-time homeowner. But with everything going on in the world today regarding residential real estate, you better have an expert on your team. Well, you're in luck because that's exactly where we are today. And not only are they experts, it's in their name, the Home Expert Team. Not one, but two, Robyn and Brad Heathcock here on the show. Folks, welcome aboard. How are you?
Thank you. We're great.
Now,
yeah, doing good. Thanks.
I can't help noticing we got the same last name here. So this is a family thing, right? Brother, sister, nephew, uncle, niece, uncle. What's the deal?
Pretty observant.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time we heard something along that line. It's actually a mother son.
Okay, that wasn't in the notes, and I wouldn't have known it. Mother son here. Well, welcome aboard to both of you. So I'm going to go to mom first, Robyn.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been in the residential real estate industry?
Going on 21 years. Yeah, a long time. Seen lots of markets.
You've seen a lot of markets and a lot of things. We're going to get to that in a second. But when did you decide? You kind of more or less grew up around the industry. Did you know at an early age you wanted to do this, or when did you decide I'm going to give it a shot?
Yeah, I don't know. I joined about 2 years ago. I was teaching and coaching before that, and I was never pressured or elbow twisted to join. I just decided that it was the time to stop teaching and coaching. And well, I don't know if she's happy or not, but here I am.
I think if she wasn't happy, it wouldn't have been 2 years. Right. Is that fair enough? Now, talking about being happy, now y'all are obviously family, but you're coworkers, you're part of the same company. Who does what there as far as the titles, if you will, with the company?
All right. Well, I'm the team leader, obviously. Got all the tenure. He does pretty much everything that I do, showing, listing, things like that. What we're working on is a little bit of osmosis because in order to wear that expert name proudly, you got to have the experience. And so I feel like the best experience is getting out there and experiencing it. And so Brad shadows me a lot. And I've been really impressed and excited about how his conversations are turning out. Sometimes let him have the conversation and he rolls with it. But really just showing as many houses as we do every week, that's really where you're going to get your experience. You've got to have, somebody who's out there showing, because the market changes. It's not static.
When it comes to the business world, you're not mom, you're a mentor.
Right.
Is that a fair way to put it?
Absolutely.
So we'll get rolling here in a second, but is it a little daunting sometimes? Are you able to, when you're at work, you realize this is my partner, this is my business partner, this is my coach, this is who's going to help me, or is it always mom?
She might be a little upset at how easily it was for me to start calling her Robyn.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had to get used to that, and we still kind of play with it a little bit. We're not always forthright with the mother-son relationship, as you didn't know yourself, right?
No, I did not.
But it always comes out because there's always some kind of an email sent or a text, and it's, But no, whenever we're talking business, we want our clients to know that we're talking business, and we are a fiduciary. That is one of our core values as the Home Experts, is that, we'll be with you from, the time that we had that first conversation to the time you close, and we won't leave you alone even after that. So
that's beautiful. And that's what we all want. And that was with my consumer hat on, not with my talk show podcast guy.
Right.
As a consumer, that's exactly what we all want. Okay, I mentioned at the start of the show today how wacky things are these days. And I don't know a lot about your industry, but I've learned two words that I've talked about a lot in the shows that I've done. Two words that seem to have risen to the top here more often than not are interest rates and inventory. Where are we?
Ooh, low on both.
Yeah, that's good.
The inventory is really low. The rates are really low. There has been some speculation the rates are going to go up. The Fed's talked about backing out of or tapering down the buying of the mortgage-backed securities, which will eventually have some sort of effect on the rate. And it really feels like in January, right after that that got out, that the faucet just came on, and all the buyers that were on the fence are like, okay, I better do it now while the interest rates are low, because it really does affect affordability. 1% increase on the rate can affect affordability considerably. And so they're out there in the fight trying to win. It's hotter now than it's been since everybody was hearing it was hot. So,
Yeah, and it's funny too, and you've been around in the industry long enough to know this. I've been around long enough in life to know this, to say if the interest rates today were to double and go there tomorrow, they're still pretty darn low from where I've seen them before in my lifetime.
Oh, right. I know. It's crazy that there's a fear that they'll go back to 4%.
Yeah, how terrible is that? How terrible is that?
Yeah.
Well, so when you're meeting with people the first time, is it exciting for you to work with first-time homeowners for a variety of reasons?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not too new to homeownership myself.
Okay.
And it was my home expert that helped me get into a home right here. So I am our story if you really think about it. I was renting an apartment, just started my teaching career at a charter school down in Waxahachie. It's Waxahachie, just so everyone can be clear about that. But I always like taking people to Waxahachie because everyone's getting farther and farther away from Dallas. But regardless of that, I found out how much I was paying and how much I could pay. And through a first-time homeowner program, I was able to purchase my first house in Waxahachie, Texas.
You mentioned the first-time homeowner program. First-timers don't know that. And a lot of times they delay the fact because I'll never be able to own a home. And there's so much information out there that we as consumers don't know about. Again, that's why you need the experts to come on board. Give me an idea of some of the programs that you're able to educate people about that they're like, really? That exists?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's this thought out there that you have to have 20% down to buy a house, and you don't. And almost with interest rates being where they're at, it doesn't make sense to put 20% down, it's almost free money, so to speak. So, but we really, over 20 years of working with lots of people and seeing different needs, we've kind of got out and searched, for programs that could help people. One of them is like a down payment grant program. It's actually a grant that doesn't have to even be paid back, to where they cover the down payment, even some of the closing costs for first-time buyers. In this market, some of the things that really help are what we call buy before you sell or become a cash offer. So there's a program, and it's the same kind of group where if you're a lot of sellers are like, well, I don't want to list because I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be out there fighting like everybody else. So we have a program that will go out and buy the house for them for cash. And then they get to move into the house and put the other one, get it ready for market, and then sell that one. And when they sell that one, then they buy the other one back from them. And it's all kind of a one-time deal. So
is that relatively new?
It's been around for a couple of years, but the word doesn't get out about it as much, as easily. And then for a buyer that is getting a loan, you're competing against a bunch of cash offers. There's a lot of cash in the market right now. And so we also have a program that works similarly, where they'll buy the house in cash for them and then give them time to get their financing together and close and buy the house back from them. So those are two really popular programs. Another one that I like too is the cash in the market. Most of them are flippers, right? So they're going to go buy the house, fix it up and flip it. So we have a program that helps the seller become the investor, technically, so to speak, to where they get the funds to fix it up, and they can fix it up and then sell it, pay back the funds, and then keep the profit themselves.
Keep the profit or flip it and buy something else.
Yeah, because in this market, if it costs you $5,000 to update your kitchen, you're probably going to get 10 to 15 back. It hasn't always been that way.
Right.
But, if you can spend $5,000 to do it and gain 5 more, it's worth it. And that program helps people do that.
Well, let me go to you for a second. And it's a 2-part question, but it's really the same question, but I'm asking you as 2 different people. So think back when you were getting your stuff together to get your first home, and now people you work with, and maybe they have some things they need to work through. What do people, when they're going to get out there, what do they need to have ready to go, even frankly, before you even start looking? Are you able to help them get things lined up?
Absolutely, especially with the help of my team. What they first need to do is talk with the lender. And actually, we've recently had a partnership with Rocket Pro Mortgage to where we can offer wholesale rates and save our customers even more. So that's the first conversation that they really should have, and make sure we can see what we're going to be qualified for. That way that I can best strategize with them on how I'm going to get them into that house that they want.
Yeah.
Well, because it's got to be a situation a lot of times where you're working with people and they have the proverbial champagne taste on the beer budget. You know,
Yeah.
they know they want this house, and well, I know you can't afford that house, so let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Is that a hard conversation to have with someone initially?
It is a hard conversation, but we have them every day, so they get less and less. And honestly, there's other terms and ways that we can structure a contract to make you competitive. Right now, cash is dominating our market, and that just is what it is. But yeah, it's hard to tell somebody to bid over a house right now, and I'm hoping that it doesn't always have to be that way.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, and let me bring this to you. With the experts in here, I get to pick your brain.
Yeah.
This is kind of neat for me, because I know these days, if a house, let's just say for an example, a house goes to the market for $300,000, and if I roll in and offer $300,000, I'm not getting it. And so my question is this: you tell me I need to go in and offer $340,000. Well, why isn't the listing price $340,000 to start with? Why is it here, but I got to go in here? But what's the positioning behind that?
Well, sometimes you have sellers or maybe agents that advise their sellers to go ahead and start up there. But I think that is very risky. I don't ever advise that from a seller. But we don't. It's not cookie cutter. Another reason to have an expert on your side is because if you're walking into a house that you know is going to get bid up in multiple offers, if they started at $340,000, because people are really shopping their approval amount, most of the time. So if the house is listed at $340,000, they're like, okay, great, I'm approved for $350,000, I'm going to do it. But it might really be a $300,000 house. Not that that matters in this market, but where you start does matter, because I just actually had this conversation with somebody yesterday. It was a house that was $340,000. Most houses that are $340,000 in that kind of condition are going to go $400,000. It's really sad. But, and so right out of the gate in the house, I'm saying, this is a $400,000 house, they want to make an offer. So I come back, I'm not going to cookie cutter every offer from my clients. I still have a fiduciary duty. And comps don't necessarily matter much, but to an extent they do from the perspective of where a seller chooses to start. So they started like 35 higher than where the most recent comp sold. So in all reality, they should be listed at that highest comp and get the $345,000. So they started at the $345,000.
Okay.
So I backed down. I said, let's go $385,000. I feel confident with that, and an appraisal waiver, that we can get that property for them, without spending every last dime they have, to get into the house.
Well, there's going to be stuff you need once you get in there.
Yeah. And I always ask,
you're buying a house, but you need more money to turn it into a home.
Absolutely. And I always ask the question, there's no way I'm going to know what it sells for. So, I do need you to know that, are you going to be heartbroken if you lose it at $385,000? You find out somebody gets it for $5,000 higher. We do need to kind of consider that. But we try to look at the market and try to be practical. Just because somebody has 50 or 60 to throw at a house, I'd like them to keep 20 in their pocket if they can.
You never know what's around the corner.
Right.
Hey, Brad, I'm going to go 180 here for a sec. We've been talking about this for the buyer, this for the buyer, this for the buyer. Let's go to the seller side of things, because you obviously represent sellers as well. It's not, even though it's such a hot market on the selling end, you still got to do a little bit of stuff. What's a couple of tips that a seller needs to do to maybe make their house sell quicker? Even though it's going to sell quick, the things they could do to fix it up and make it more presentable.
Well, I'll sidestep your question just a bit by kind of talking about what we were just talking about and using it for my seller. So from the consumer perspective, I get a lot of people asking me, well, what's the top offer? Who's got the top offer, and what's that number? Well, in the state of Texas, we're a non-disclosure state. We don't disclose that now. If I tell you what my top offer is that I have for my seller that I'm representing, I then have to go to every interested party and tell them the same thing. Now, you might think that's a good idea. Let's drive that price up. But what if I told you that by blind bidding and not disclosing that information, I could get you 20 or 30 grand higher than what you thought you were going to get, especially in this market? That's one of the quick tips that I would give my sellers to get the most for their money before I even have to step into their house. But since we're going to go in the house and I'm going to detail what upgrades I can see versus what upgrades I've seen in your neighborhood, I could point those out and put a value to it, but I can also give you some staging tips like everybody else will as well. But then we're going to talk about our marketing. Now, we're seeing a lot of relocation right now. We're seeing relocation from California coming in. We're seeing relocation all around the world, right? Or all around the United States, I should say. So we don't just market your property in Anna, Texas at $560,000 to every resident in Texas looking for a house that's qualified, but also in all these markets where they're coming from and filtering into our Texas market. Yeah. So we got that down.
Well, yeah, I'd say you have it down. You even have a slogan for the company. There's an expert for that.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Did you come up with that one?
Actually, he did when
you
he joined us 2 years ago.
That's why you brought him on board. Right?
Yeah, well, it was an accident. I'll say it, but it stuck.
Yeah, we were just kidding around in a meeting when he first came on, and I'm like, wait, I like that.
I think there's an expert team for that. We'll take it a step further.
We
agree.
Definitely a team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to staging real quick. Because staging is one of those things that I guess has been around for a long time, but it seems to kind of moved up. I mean, there's companies, all they do is stage. But what's even in this hot sellers market, it's still important to stage on occasion, stage your property?
It really is, because no matter what market we're in, easy sale, hard sale, from an agent's perspective, I still owe a fiduciary duty to my client to get them the highest dollar possible, and making the house look its best is the way to get the highest dollar possible. Even in a market like this, you can walk into a house that's not updated and a buyer leaves with a different feeling. They may still want the house, but they leave with a feeling of, okay, I got to do this. There's a little bit of a negative overhang. If it's already fixed up or it's very updated, then they leave feeling really energetic and they're going to want to spend more money. Mm-hmm. So staging definitely, and staging is done to make the rooms look bigger. We even add color. Photography is a pretty good thing. Color pops are important and things like that. So we don't scrimp on the staging advice or even bringing stagers in to stage houses.
Now, I've also heard something as simple as making the house look more neutral, in that if you have pictures of, and I'm not going to use any specifics, but you have pictures and pennants and footballs and stuff of your alma mater sitting there and the arch rival comes in as a potential buyer, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, it's his Texas.
Yeah.
This is Texas. And if your house is full of maroon, the guy with the burnt orange shirt ain't going to buy it.
That's right. That's right.
There.
Although I have been known to write a letter going, hey, go Longhorns, or what have you.
Whatever it takes, but it's just another practice station.
Absolutely.
All right. So you've been doing this for 20 years. You may not remember, but something tells me in the limited time I know you, you're going to know the answer to this question. We touched briefly. I'm going to ask you the question as well. We touched briefly about first-time home buyers. This man just went through it himself. But going back to the time that you worked with someone, the nervous Nellies, maybe it's a newlywed couple or whatever, and they're going to jump in there and they've been scrimping and saving, and you're walking them through the process, and the tears of not getting this one and the tear, and you're right there with them, and the day comes and they're getting writer's cramp from signing all the documents, and you're side by side with them, and it's all over. What's that experience like for you?
Oh, it's amazing. It's a really good feeling. It's in this market, you do lose a few before you win a few, and it's a battle. And so there's nothing like, making it to that finish line and, just seeing their faces signing the papers. Unfortunately, it's not as fun to be a first-time buyer in this market. My passion is to walk through a house, let somebody visualize, Johnny's bed's going to fit here and what have you. And they're just excited. Choices would be great if they had choices, they're like, okay, there's 4 houses I like, I'm going to pick this one, but it makes the victory sweeter for sure, knowing that they fought for it and we stay in touch with our clients through the years too. We have events and things like that. So we've got clients that we sold 20 years ago that are coming to our events. And so nothing is even better than somebody saying, hey, I want to sell my house, and then letting them see how much equity they've gained and what owning a home, how it built wealth for their family so they can either move up or pay for college.
Better than spending that money on apartment rent.
Yes.
Whatever. Okay,
yes.
So you're still relatively new to both home ownership and also to this industry. Mm-hmm. But to the people you work with, is there a relatability factor from the fact that you are a recent first timer yourself, and when you're working with someone, you say, "Look, I was you. I know what you're going through right now." Does that work to your advantage to be able to relate to people?
I think in some cases it definitely can, because in my opinion, that is kind of the ladder that you're talking about. Homeownership is a key factor in generational wealth. And so I think that that's something important that we got to educate people on about as well. And so for me, I was able to purchase my first home in that way, a few years back, and then eventually be able to purchase my next one and start to rent that out and then make it an investment. Right. And so, trying to get your money to work for you isn't easy, but you got to have people to kind of educate you and some experts along the way to get you there. But yeah, I think it makes me more relatable to see somebody who's maybe a little younger than the average agent, I guess, that's just gone through it. formerly being a teacher and a coach, you know, and making it work on that kind of a salary can, you know, lots of people could probably make it work. So, no disrespect, obviously I lived in that for 7 years. So
Absolutely.
I love working with my teachers. Actually, that would probably make it even sweeter if I could close a few teacher deals, and I have. So, but being able to walk away from that table and knowing we're going to see them again at our Pie Day or any of our other events that we put on for our clients.
Wait. Pie Day.
Pie Day, baby.
I'm not looking for a house currently, but you had me at Pie. Tell me about Pie Day.
Yeah. So all of our past clients are invited to come and pick up a pie and kind of hang out, sit around, and you know, and honestly, sometimes it's a good time for them to check in and see how much equity they're sitting on in their house. But it's a good time. We always have a good turnout. I think we had our first actual official Pie Day here at Venture X location in Castle Hills, and it was really cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because you jumped to my next question. I mean, you could obviously have your office wherever you want it to be. You're here.
Yeah.
You're Venture X.
Yeah.
Why is that? Does this bring anything to your business?
Oh yeah, we were. I was just kind of feeling just kind of blah where I was at my other location. Just things were status quo. I was really looking for a change, and so we were looking to change locations. The minute I toured this place, I was like, oh, it just feels good. It's open. It's real trendy. There's a lot of motivation from a business owner perspective when you see other people working and other business thriving and, you know, action going on and things like that. It can improve your business, and, you know, the state of mind and atmosphere make a big difference, I think, on success.
There's the energy and the synergy that's all generated.
Absolutely.
By this place.
And then, you know, just being proud. We're proud to invite our clients to come here and, you know, just sit and have a coffee and visit with us. And it definitely provided, like Brad said, a good atmosphere for our Pie Day. We do that at Thanksgiving. We give our clients a choice of a pie. We have them come pick it up and serve cocoa and cider and just visit and, you know, take pictures. And this was the perfect spot for that. And it really felt good. Everybody that came in was like, wow, really like this place. It really feels good.
Well, once again, there's an expert for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Some of them might think we own the place, and we don't tell them we don't.
Yeah.
You know, and from the people I've talked to, it is that sense of ownership, that sense of pride, where you open the door and say, yeah, well, this is my place.
Absolutely.
And everybody gets that, and everybody shares that. So thank you for sharing that part of your journey together. But really, thank you for sharing your career, your new career. Congratulations again on now both your houses. Now you one up me, dadgummit. I need a new realtor. We'll talk off the air. But for today, thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
It's just a wonderful journey in its own way. It's just getting started. But we do appreciate you sharing it with us, and keep being dream makers. That's what you are. You help people's dreams come true. Am I reading too much into that?
No, thank you. That's great.
No, we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being with us today. We wish you continued success. Appreciate you both.
All right.
And we appreciate you, as always, for being here with us on our big podcast experience once again. The Venture Xperience podcast wouldn't be the same without you. Thanks for being with us. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Venture X is a locally owned and globally connected portfolio of co-working spaces providing businesses with on-demand office space and services to run their company. To book a tour, visit www.venturex.com. When you need a space for your next business, X marks the spot.